Iraq economic news and points to ponder Thursday afternoon, September 25, 25. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Prime Minister's advisor. Slight increases in the exchange rate in positive economic indicators. Time. The 25th of September 2025, 14 hours 49 minutes and 8 seconds. Read 480 times. Economic. Al-Farad News. The Prime Minister's financial advisor, Mazhar Mohammad Saleh, confirmed that the minor increases in the exchange rate in the parallel currency market have had no real impact, noting that these increases are temporary. Saleh told Al-Farad news agency that the annual inflation rate remains below 3%, which he considered a remarkable success for economic policy over the past 3 years. He added that this policy was accompanied by a decrease in unemployment to approximately 13%, in addition to the launch of extensive construction projects that contributed to achieving economic growth consistent with the 2024 to 2028 National Development Plan, which targets real GDP growth of more than 4%. He explained that economic policy is proceeding on its 3 axes, monetary, fiscal, and commercial, to confront any inflationary pressures, stressing that annual inflation rates in Iraq have fluctuated below 3% for the 3rd consecutive year, demonstrating the success of economic policy in achieving stability, particularly monetary policy, which considers price stability and maintaining the purchasing power of the dinar as its primary objective. New rise in dollar prices in Baghdad. Economy, September 25, 2025. Mawazin News. Baghdad. The US dollar exchange rate rose on Thursday morning in Baghdad markets and in Erbil, the capital of the Kurdistan region. The dollar price rose on the Al-Kifa and Al-Harithia stock exchanges to 141,950 Iraqi dinars for every $100, while yesterday, Wednesday, the price was recorded at 141,450 Iraqi dinars for every $100. Selling prices also rose in exchange shops in local markets in Baghdad, where the selling price reached 143,000 Iraqi dinars for every $100, and the buying price reached 141,000 dinars for every $100. Prime Minister. A historic agreement has been reached to export oil from the region's fields through the Iraq-Turkey pipeline. Thursday, September 25, 2025. Economics number of readings. 132. Baghdad, Nina. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani announced reaching a historic agreement to export the region's oil fields through the Iraqi-Turkish pipeline. Al-Sudani said in a post on the X platform, "Today we reached a historic agreement under which the Federal Ministry of Oil will receive the crude oil produced from the fields located in the Kurdistan region and exported through the Iraqi-Turkish pipeline." He added, "This ensures the equitable distribution of wealth, diversifies export outlets, and encourages investment, and it is an achievement we have waited for 18 years." After rising levels, oil prices record weekly losses. Economy, September 25, 2025. Mawazin News. Follow-up, oil prices fell as investors booked profits. After hitting a 7-week high in the previous session on a surprise drop in weekly U.S. crude inventories and concerns that Ukrainian attacks on Russian energy infrastructure could disrupt supplies, Brent crude futures fell 18 cents, or 0.26%, to $69.13 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude futures fell 20 cents, or 0.31%, to $64.79 a barrel. Both contracts rose 2.5% in the previous session. Prices received support after U.S. crude oil inventories unexpectedly fell by 607,000 barrels in the week ending September 19, the Energy Information Administration announced on Wednesday. Al-Sudani. The financial and economic achievements and reforms achieved are the result of the distinguished efforts of employees. Thursday, September 25, 2025. Economics number of reads. 267. Baghdad, Nina. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani stressed that the financial and economic achievements and reforms achieved are the result of the distinguished efforts of employees. The Prime Minister said during his patronage of the National Job Day ceremony, which was adopted by the government at the level of all Iraqi governorates, and witnessed the honoring of distinguished employees with stories of sacrifice, creativity and success. The Prime Minister said that without the sacrifices of the martyrs, their families and the wounded, we would not have reached this level of security and stability that enabled the state to carry out its duties in the areas of reconstruction, development and service provision. He pointed out that there are thousands of stories that speak of employees' giving, dedication and service to the homeland. Al-Sudani stressed the government's keenness to celebrate this day, evaluate and meet the elites whose performance was characterized by giving, diligence, dedication and duty. An approach that has been ongoing for 3 years, explaining that the Iraqi employee is committed to a system of values and ethics, and that without the sacrifices of the martyrs, their families and the wounded, we would not have reached this level of security and stability that enabled the state to carry out its duties in the areas of reconstruction, development and service provision. Al-Sudani pointed out that there are thousands of stories that speak of employees' giving, dedication, and service to the country, and that these stories must be taught to our children. Today's honoring is a recognition of what they offer and a message that someone is evaluating, monitoring, and diagnosing. He explained that the presence of a group of distinguished employees with us today does not negate the distinction of others, but rather is a matter of competition to provide the best services and performance, each according to his specialization and duties, in fulfilling his role and duty, which is religious, national, and moral. He explained that there are those who deliberately raise and generalize negatives in light of the current circumstances, and try to distort the image of the employee by raising a negative phenomenon or implicating a weak-willed person in financial or administrative suspicions. Stressing the government's addressing all sources of shortcomings as part of the government's priorities in combating financial and administrative corruption. He explained that the achievements made throughout Iraq, and the financial, administrative, and economic reforms, are the result of the efforts of employees who represent a pillar in implementing the government program. He continued that one of the most important basic factors in restoring trust with citizens is the performance of employees. He pointed out that the citizen is able to assess any defect in job performance and evaluate his position on the elections based on the services provided. He said, "We have achieved a qualitative shift in terms of equality between private sector workers and the government sector to absorb the largest number of graduates to work in the private sector." He added that economic reform cannot be achieved without financial and banking reform, and Iraq has achieved an important accomplishment that has made it trusted by financial institutions. He stressed that international banks have taken the initiative to enter the Iraqi banking sector, and we have established relationships with all international financial institutions. He continued that state institutions and the civil service sector are concerned with the success of the private sector experience, which contributes to creating a new work reality and job opportunities. He stressed the importance of reform and supporting the private sector as a partner in solving problems in services, housing, agriculture and other fields. Al-Sudani said that the government has achieved clear performance figures in implementing the priorities of its government program through the best elite of employees. He explained that the achievements made are much greater than what some are trying to downplay. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: dinarrecaps.com